In this video, you're going to discover the one financial enemy that almost nobody talks about. It's not your salary, it's not the economy, it's not even your debt. It's something quieter than that, something that grows so slowly you barely notice it happening. Picture someone who just got a raise, a real one, 20% more than last year. They should feel richer, they should be saving more, investing more, building more. But 6 months later, somehow, they have less breathing room than before. Not because anything went wrong, because something invisible happened instead. Stay with me until the end, because by the time this video is over, you'll know exactly what this silent killer looks like in your own life, and more importantly, how to stop it before it stops you. Let's start the way any good investigation starts, by ruling out the obvious suspects. Most people assume the enemy of wealth is a low income. Makes sense, right? If you don't earn much, how could you possibly build anything? But here's the problem with that theory. Study after study on lottery winners tells a different story. Roughly 70% of people who receive a sudden financial windfall, lottery winnings, inheritances, big bonuses, end up broke again within a few years. If income were the real killer, that number should be close to zero. It isn't, so it's not income. What about debt then? Surely debt is the villain. Debt certainly hurts, but debt is usually a symptom, not the disease itself. People don't wake up one day and randomly decide to take on debt for no reason. Something drives them there first. What about bad investments? Poor financial literacy? Those matter too, but they're not universal. Plenty of people who've never invested a dollar in their life still end up financially fine, simply by living below their means. And plenty of people who understand investing perfectly well still end up broke, because their spending outpaces every gain they make. So if it's not income, not debt, not investment knowledge, what's left? There's one factor that touches almost everyone, regardless of how much they earn, how educated they are, or how disciplined they think they are. It hides in plain sight because it doesn't feel like a mistake while it's happening. It feels like progress. Before we name it, it helps to understand where it came from, because this isn't a new problem. It's just wearing new clothes. Go back to the years after World War II. For the first time in American history, credit became widely available to ordinary households. Before that, if you wanted something, you saved for it first, then bought it. Credit flipped that order. Buy first, pay later. Worry about it next month. Then came the credit card in the 1950s, and with it, an entirely new psychology of spending. Researchers have shown again and again that people spend more when paying with plastic than with cash, sometimes twice as much for the exact same purchase, simply because the pain of paying is delayed and softened. Then came television advertising, then targeted digital ads, then social media, each new wave making it easier to see what everyone else has, and harder to feel content with what you already own. By the time we reach today, we're not just living in a world that makes overspending easy. We're living in a world specifically engineered over 70 years to make lifestyle upgrades feel less like choices and more like inevitabilities. Which brings us to the actual name of what we're dealing with. It's called lifestyle creep. And here's the simplest way to describe it. Every time your income goes up, your spending quietly rises to meet it. Sometimes it even goes past it, until the raise you worked so hard for disappears into a slightly nicer version of the life you already had. New job, 10% raise. Suddenly the daily coffee becomes a specialty order. The apartment upgrades to one with an extra room. Just because you can now. The car lease payment creeps from $300 a month to $500 because you deserve it. None of these decisions feel reckless in the moment, and that's exactly why it works the way it does. Lifestyle creep never announces itself. It doesn't feel like overspending. It feels like finally getting to enjoy the money you earn. A 2023 survey by Lending Club found something striking. Despite rising wages across the country, The percentage of Americans living paycheck to paycheck actually increased in recent years, even among those earning six figures. Read that again, six figures. Living paycheck to paycheck. That's not an income problem. That's lifestyle creep, quietly eating every dollar of progress before it ever has a chance to compound. Let's coin a term for this, because it deserves one. Being income trapped. You're not poor, you're not broke in the traditional sense. You're simply trapped at whatever spending level matches your current income, no matter how high that income climbs. So why does this happen? To smart, hardworking people over and over again. The first reason is something psychologists call hedonic adaptation. Human beings adjust to improvements in their circumstances astonishingly fast. That first paycheck at your new salary feels amazing. By month 3, it feels normal. By month 6, it feels like the baseline you deserve, and anything less starts to feel like a step backward. The second reason is social comparison. We don't evaluate our financial progress in a vacuum. We compare ourselves to the people around us, coworkers, neighbors, old classmates on social media. If your coworker just got a new car and you make similar money, some part of your brain quietly asks, shouldn't I have one too? The third reason, and this is the one nobody wants to admit, is that spending feels like proof. Proof that the hard work paid off. Proof that you've made it. A nicer home, a newer car, a better vacation. These become physical evidence of success, even when the bank account behind them tells a very different story. The marketing world understands this better than we do. Car companies don't sell transportation, they sell identity. Real estate listings don't sell square footage, they sell status. Every industry built around lifestyle spending has learned exactly how to sell you a slightly better version of yourself, timed perfectly for the moment your income goes up. And here's the trap that makes it worse than simple overspending. Unlike a one-time bad purchase, lifestyle creep compounds. A single unnecessary purchase costs you once. A permanently higher spending baseline costs you every single month for the rest of your working life, unless something interrupts it. Now let's talk about where this actually hides, because it doesn't show up the same way for everyone. It tends to creep into 4 categories, one at a time. The first is housing. Every time income rises, there's a pull toward just a bit more space or a slightly better neighborhood, an extra bedroom you don't need yet, a slightly higher rent that felt justified at the time. Housing is the single largest lifestyle creep category because increases here are the hardest to reverse once you've settled in. The second is transportation. We covered this in a previous video about cars specifically, but it's worth repeating here. A car payment that grows every few years, financed a little longer each time, justified by a slightly nicer trim or a slightly bigger badge on the hood. The third is food and convenience. This one is sneaky because each individual purchase is small. A few more delivery orders a week, a slightly nicer grocery store, more restaurant meals because there's no time to cook anymore. None of it feels significant in the moment, but stacked over a year, this category alone often accounts for thousands of dollars of quiet creep. The fourth is recurring subscriptions and memberships, streaming services, apps, gym memberships, cloud storage upgrades. These accumulate almost invisibly because each one costs only a few dollars a month. The average household today carries far more recurring subscriptions than it did just 5 years ago, and most people, when asked to list every subscription they're paying for, genuinely can't do it from memory. Let's put real numbers behind all of this, because abstract warnings don't change behavior. Specific numbers do. Imagine 2 people, let's call them person A and person B. Both start earning $60,000 a year. Both receive the exact same raises over 10 years, eventually reaching $100,000. Person A lets their lifestyle rise with every raise. New apartment, newer car, more takeout, more subscriptions, nicer vacations. By year 10, they're earning $100,000 and spending nearly all of it. just like they did at 60,000. Their savings rate never improves, it just goes sideways for a decade. Person B takes a different approach. Every time they get a raise, they bank half of it. They still enjoy their life, better meals occasionally, a nicer apartment eventually, a vacation here and there, but they never let their spending fully catch up to their income. Over that same 10 years, if Person B invests the difference at a historical average return of around 10% annually, the gap between them isn't small, it's not even close. Depending on the exact numbers, Person B ends the decade with anywhere from $200,000 to $300,000 more in net worth than Person A, despite earning the exact same salary every single year. Same income, same raises, same decade, a difference of $250,000, give or take, based entirely on one invisible habit. Now let's make this personal with a more detailed story. Picture someone named Sarah. Sarah starts her career at $45,000 a year, sharing an apartment, driving an older used car, cooking most of her own meals. Over the next 12 years, Sarah gets promoted 4 times. Her salary eventually reaches $95,000, more than double where she started. Along the way, Sarah's rent goes from $600 split with a roommate to $2,200 for a one-bedroom she now has entirely to herself. Her car goes from a paid-off 10-year-old sedan to a financed near-new SUV with a payment of $610 a month. Her grocery bill quietly turns into a mix of groceries and near-daily delivery orders, adding roughly $400 a month compared to her early 20s. And somewhere along the way, she picks up 11 different subscriptions she barely remembers signing up for, totaling almost $140 a month. None of these felt like reckless decisions individually. Each one arrived attached to a raise, a promotion, a "you've earned this" moment. But added up, and Sarah's expenses grew almost exactly as fast as her income did. 12 years, more than double the salary, and her savings account barely moved. That's the story of lifestyle creep, told through one ordinary career, and it's a story that repeats itself, with different numbers, in millions of households every single year. It's also worth noticing that lifestyle creep doesn't move at a steady pace throughout life. It tends to arrive in sudden jumps, tied to specific milestones, and understanding those trigger points is often the difference between catching it early and not catching it at all. The first major trigger is a new relationship or marriage. 2 incomes combine, and almost overnight there's a pull toward a bigger home, nicer furniture, a shared car upgrade, a more elaborate vacation schedule. Combined income feels like a green light for combined spending, even when neither person actually planned it that way. The second trigger is having children. This one is understandable, because some expenses genuinely are necessary, but alongside the real necessities, plenty of optional upgrades quietly sneak in under the same emotional banner: the larger house for the kids, the newer minivan for safeties, the private preschool because we want the best for them. Some of these choices are worth it. Many are lifestyle creep wearing a parental disguise. The third trigger is relocating to a new city, especially for a job. A higher salary in a new city often comes paired with a higher cost of living, which makes it easy to justify spending increases that go beyond what the new cost of living actually requires. People frequently upgrade their entire lifestyle to match their new salary when only a portion of that increase was ever actually needed to maintain their old standard of living in the new location. And the fourth trigger, more subtle than the others, is simply career seniority itself. As people move into more senior roles, they often feel an unspoken pressure to look the part, better clothes, a nicer car in the office parking lot, a more impressive home for hosting colleagues. Nobody hands you a memo demanding this. It just quietly becomes part of the unwritten expectations that come with the title. Recognizing these 4 trigger points in advance is powerful because it means you can plan for them instead of reacting to them after the fact. A raise, a marriage, a baby, a move, a promotion. These are exactly the moments to pause and decide on purpose how much of the increase to keep, rather than letting the decision happen automatically. It's also worth asking whether this looks the same for everyone, and the honest answer is no. Lifestyle creep shows up differently depending on where someone starts. For lower and middle income households, lifestyle creep often hides inside what feels like basic upgrades, moving from a shared apartment to a solo one, from public transit to a first car, from cooking every meal to eating out occasionally. These upgrades genuinely improve quality of life, which makes them harder to question. The danger isn't that these upgrades happen, it's that they keep happening indefinitely. Every single time income rises, without ever slowing down. For higher income households, lifestyle creep tends to hide inside comparison with other high earners, rather than comparison with the general population. Someone earning $200,000 a year rarely compares themselves to someone earning $40,000. They compare themselves to colleagues and neighbors earning $250,000 or $300,000, which means the treadmill never actually stops, no matter how high the number climbs. This is precisely why so many high earners still report feeling financially behind. And across generations, the pattern shows up with a new twist. Younger earners today face constant visibility into other people's spending through social media in a way older generations never experienced. It's no longer just about keeping up with the neighbors, it's about keeping up with a curated highlight reel of thousands of strangers, all appearing to live a slightly better life, updated daily. Understanding which version of this pattern applies to your own situation is genuinely useful because it tells you where to look first. If comparison is driving your decisions, the fix starts with awareness of who you're actually comparing yourself to and why. Let's look at this from a different angle now, through two contrasting patterns that show up again and again in the real world. The first pattern belongs to what we might call the high earner, high stress profile. These are professionals earning excellent salaries, sometimes well into six figures, who still describe themselves as financially stressed. On paper, they've made it. In reality, their spending has quietly matched their income, step for step, leaving almost nothing behind when the month ends. Higher income, same anxiety, just a nicer set of problems. The second pattern is the opposite, and it's the one worth studying closely. Financial independence communities are full of stories of ordinary earners, teachers, government employees, small business owners who never touched six-figure salaries, but who reached genuine financial freedom decades before their higher-earning peers. Their secret wasn't a special investment trick. It was refusing to let their spending rise every time their income did. They kept their lifestyle relatively flat year after year, while their investments kept compounding quietly in the background. The uncomfortable truth is this: two people can earn wildly different incomes and end up in almost identical financial positions, or two people can earn the exact same income and end up worlds apart, purely based on how they respond to that first dollar of extra income they receive. So how do you actually protect yourself from this without turning your life into a joyless spreadsheet? First, know your number before you spend it, before your next raise even arrives. Decide in advance what percentage of it you'll redirect straight to savings or investments. Most people who succeed at this use 50% as a simple, repeatable rule, half for life, half for the future. Second, automate before you feel it. The moment a raise lands, redirect that portion of it directly into savings or investments before it ever touches your everyday checking account. Money you never see is money you never miss. Third, apply what some call the 30-day rule on any new recurring expense, not a one-time purchase, a recurring one like a subscription, a bigger lease, or a membership. If it's still something you genuinely want after waiting, go for it. Most of the time, the urge fades entirely. Fourth, pick one or two upgrades per raise that you actually care about and consciously let the rest stay flat. This isn't about depriving yourself forever. It's about choosing your upgrades on purpose, instead of letting every single area of your life quietly inflate all at once without you ever deciding to. Fifth, revisit your fixed costs once a year, not just your discretionary spending. Subscriptions, insurance, memberships, these accumulate quietly and rarely get canceled, even when they stop adding real value. Sit down once a year, list every recurring charge on your statement, and ask honestly whether each one still earns its place. Most people who do this exercise for the first time find at least $100 a month they'd completely forgotten they were paying for. Sixth, whenever you hit one of the trigger points we just talked about, a raise, a relationship, a child, a move, a promotion, treat it as a deliberate checkpoint. Pause before your spending adjusts automatically, and decide on purpose what you actually want to change, instead of letting the moment decide for you. Here's a quick way to check where you personally stand. Take your income increase from the past 2 or 3 years in dollars. Then take your spending increase over that same period in dollars. Divide your spending increase by your income increase and multiply by 100. If that number comes out around 50% or lower, you're in solid shape. Your spending is rising slower than your income, which means your gap is genuinely widening over time. If it comes out closer to 80 or 90%, you're walking right on the edge, absorbing almost every extra dollar into a slightly bigger lifestyle. And if that number comes out at 100% or higher, meaning your spending grew as much as or more than your income, that's the clearest possible sign the silent killer has already found you, not as a judgment, just as information. The kind of information that's only useful once you actually calculate it, instead of guessing. If this video made you rethink your own spending pattern, that's exactly the point. Awareness is the first step, because you can't interrupt a pattern you don't recognize as happening. At the end of the day, the silent wealth killer isn't a villain hiding somewhere out there. It's a pattern that lives quietly inside all of us. One upgrade, one "you deserve this," one small comfortable decision at a time. The people who build lasting wealth aren't the ones who never enjoy their money. They're the ones who learn to notice the pattern early enough to interrupt it, before 10 years of raises quietly disappeared into a life that looks better on the outside, but feels no different on the inside. Here at The Bigger Picture, we'll always explore the financial questions that truly matter, not with fear, not with sensational headlines, but with honest conversations, clear explanations, and the bigger picture behind every story.